Hello and welcome back to the Brooks channel. I am Kay. I just want to thank everyone who joined us last week and subscribed to our channel. We thank you for sharing and liking our video. If you have not joined us, you could go back and check out our first video from last week. This week, we will be talking about our journey from Arizona to South Carolina. A lot of you know that we recently moved, and we just want to tell you all about that, and hopefully it will inspire you as you learn about our faith walk. Take a look. Okay, so I am here with my husband, Greg, and he's gonna tell us what inspired you, babe, to take this faith walk from Arizona to South Carolina. Tell us about it.
Hello, everyone. I guess I could say that there was actually a sequence of things, quite a few things that was going on in our lives at the time. The first of which was we had to make a decision about whether we're going to continue to live where we were. So were we going to continue renting, or rent was going up? I was like, I don't know if we want to do that. And so we had to make a decision on that too.
Yeah, we were paying $2,000.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, we would go. Yeah, and didn't want to do that. You know, at that point, it just made more sense to probably own rather than rent. The second thing was my wife was actually looking to start the NP program, to become a nurse practitioner. And we wanted to understand, well, okay, are we going to be here because she was going to start the program? You know, are we going to be here, and would it make sense for her to start that program in Arizona? Or third, I was kind of at a point in ministry trying to figure out, you know, God, where am I supposed to go next? And actually, every year around November, I try to have some time with God just to plan out or to listen to what He has in store for the year coming up. And so there was just a myriad of situations that we were even thinking about, okay, what about family? Should we be closer to family or not? You know, some of these things were going through our minds. And so it so happened, as I mentioned, that it was around November, the time where I would be going to have my mountaintop experience with God. And I went there during this time just seeking God's guidance, fasting, praying, and trying to figure out, okay, what's next? And while I was there, I brought several books with me, right? And I was just like, okay, God, what book should I read first? Where should I start? And I remember picking up this book that Friday evening. I went to sleep. but I woke up very early the next morning, and I started reading, and it was just God speaking to me in tremendous ways. And part of it was just having courage, and also realizing that if God can give us good gifts, our earthly Father can give us good gifts, then how much more can God? And so I was going through this process of reimagining what God can do through me. And part of that reimagining in this experience was understanding whether I would stay in pastoral ministry or if ministry would be something else. And while I was there and going through reading, the Spirit impressed upon me to watch this video, a video that had actually came in that morning earlier on, and it was on Facebook. And I said, I'm not touching any electronics, I'm not touching it, but it came through and it's like, you need to watch the video. And in that video, it was a friend of mine talking about the fact that sometimes we have narrowed God, especially pastors who come in and thinking that this is all there is to ministry, when God wants us to do bigger and greater things. And so in this whole process, God was reframing what ministry could be, you know, going forward. And so with this in mind, I came back down from the mountaintop, told my wife about the experience, and as she was sharing that she had just spoken to her family about You know, they'd all been in Atlanta. They were all getting together. They were fellowshipping, having a good time. And she was just like, man, I wish I could be there. And in that moment, I was like, babe, what if we go? And that is really the start of that journey.
Yeah. And, you know, when he told me, what if we should go, you know, my response was, are you sure? Are you sure? Because you don't have to tell me twice. And I really want to, this is what I always tell my husband, you know, wherever God leads, I'm willing to follow. If he wants to take us from here to Alaska, like, you know, I hope not. Yeah. But, you know, if that's what he wants, I'm willing, you know. And so when he said, maybe we should try to cast our net on the other side and see what's over in South Carolina or somewhere else, because we weren't breaking any ground in terms of finding a house in South Carolina, in Arizona, as much as we wanted to. We tried. And so when he told me, I said, you know what, let's do what we always do. Let's fast and pray about it. And so we both started fasting and praying, mostly praying. And another thing that we normally do when we feel like God is asking us to make a big decision is to find something in his word. And so we started reading the book Daring Greatly. And through that book, it was addressing everything we were experiencing at the time. Because here we are feeling like it's time to go on this faith journey, but we're both scared because I'm like, okay, I am set in my job right now. Everything is going well. And so we prayed, and everything in that book was just speaking to us. So when we got our answer, that's when we started, asking God to make the way clear. If this is the way he wants us to go, make the way clear for us, like he did when we had to make other moves. It was just clear, like we didn't have to worry about anything else, and that's what he did. So Chloe, tell us how you felt when you heard that we were moving to South Carolina.
Well, I was excited. I was excited for like a new adventure in the East Coast. But the thing I wasn't excited for was the drive there, because it was probably going to take a really long time. And when we were done, I figured out that it took 6 days to even get here. And I was hoping that we could take a plane, or what if we took a plane, how long it would take. Maybe it would only take like 2 days or something.
Less than that.
Yeah, less than that. Probably like 1 hour or so.
A couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours, not even days, but no.
So, we were brought into the room. We found out that we're actually gonna try to move there, and I was just, I didn't know how to feel, because like we've moved a lot, and you would expect me to be used to it, but like every time we move here, I make friends, and I had to lead them again when we move. So it's kind of just hard when it comes to moving for me, because like I'm not the type of guy that likes to move and like leave everything behind and like start anew. But I would say that my real reaction was just I was mad and I was sad at the same time.
Well, I'm a person when we first move, because we moved 2 times before, I have hope for these things. I say, oh, new friends, new opportunities, new possibilities, and we are going to be closer to family too, so, and I was getting my own room, a dog.
mostly liked the hotels, because some of the hotels were actually pretty good, you know. And I also liked the snow in Texas, but sometimes I didn't really like it because when we went further in Texas, it was kind of like rough. But my favorite was when we were in Georgia, so because I got to hang out with my cousin Maddie and my auntie Sophia. Yeah, it was fun hanging out with them, you know.
I liked, like Chloe said, I liked the hotels because some of them were really good. And like, I remember there was this one hotel that actually gave me the inspiration to get the desk that I have right now. And then also, when we were driving through the States, like, I really liked Louisiana because even though it was just water and a bunch of bridges, I was just surprised how long the bridges were. Like, they were very long. Even like when they stopped, we would just get back on a bridge again like 10 seconds later. They were long bridges.
Well, my favorite highlight, I guess, was probably Bisbee. I like the vintage vibes of it, and we had a nice hotel, nice view, and all that stuff. And I had a pretty relaxing journey throughout the trip, I guess.
I think, you know, the journey, for me, the highlight was in the beginning. Obviously, after going through the whole process of deciding that and getting confirmation that we have to move, it was now the planning, you know, okay, how are we going to get there? How are we going to afford it? You know, all the different things. And so the highlight for me was really in that beginning planning, you know, going through, okay, if we had to drive a truck, how would we do that? If we had to rent, how much would it cost? You know, for us to get a trailer and ship it, or to get movers to actually move it.
Or whether to fly or drive.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And you know, me being a economical kind of a guy, or basically, you know, I'm like one of those people that you go to Amazon and you buy something, let's say it's for $50. If somebody should go and buy that thing for $30, I would feel like I got duped, right? So I want to make sure that I chose the best path, best option, and most economical option. And
I guess some people would call that frugal.
Just some of the people call that just being a good, calculated, rational-minded person, right? So that's kind of really what was the journey, and why I enjoyed that, because we actually, you know, I think went with the path or the option that worked really well for us.
Because I gave it to you this time.
Yeah, I mean, that option allowed us to we went with a trailer, and we were able to pack the trailer. We had the trailer for about 5 days prior, because it happened over a holiday weekend. And then we had the trailer here, when we had some issues, we had the trailer here for 4 extra days. So that really gave us enough time to pack it and enough time to unpack it. And if we had any other option, I don't feel like it would have worked. If we had someone coming here in light of what we went through once we got here, it would have been much more difficult. So the highlight would be for me that whole planning process, and God really showing us, you know, the best path forward.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add to what you said, I mean, they were quoting us like some
8,000, 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that was crazy.
We didn't pay anything close to that.
Yes. So for me, the highlight for me, I guess, was so we chose to drive both vehicles. That's what we decided to do. I was really scared about that because I have never driven by myself for more than 4 hours at a time. And so this journey is like almost, what, 36 hours? 30 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 30 hours. And so even the thought of 30 hours was giving me anxiety. And I was telling Greg, man, I don't think I can do that. There is no way my body is going to allow me to drive that far. And you know, he was encouraging me, we're gonna take it slowly.
Slow. So instead of, you know, we'll do 10 hours a day.
Yeah,
instead of 10 hours a day, you know, we'll make it like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And just take our time.
Right.
And enjoy the scenery and things like that.
And I was like, you know, it may not be 6 hours. It may be that we're stopping every 4 hours. He's like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just try and see, because after we calculated how much it was going to be for us to ship the vehicles and stuff like that, it was going to be too much. So yeah, I decided to drive, but guess what? I prayed about it and I was like, Lord, you're going to have to give me the strength. You're going to have to take me through this, because I am someone who fear driving over bridges. And I knew we were going to be passing over some. I was amazed at how God actually came through, and he took away all the fear, because when we were going over those bridges, sometimes I did not even know we were going over.
Yeah, so man, there were plenty. What is that? There's a song, Count Your Blessings, name them one by one. It will surprise you what the Lord has done. It really was one of those experiences for me. But I could start with job. I was not sure what I was going to be doing, right? So this is a faith journey, right? And faith says, go even though you can't see. I could not see the path forward. And I remember, you know, sharing with the church that the Lord is impressing on us to leave and kind of just move east. And the church actions blew me away. And it really was a God thing. We told the church where they were really sad. They were, you know, definitely surprised, shocked to say the least, but they were very supportive. And they said, you know, if this is what God wants for you and your family, we are supported. We're behind you. And they didn't just say it, they showed that thing with their actions. I mean, they said, you know, Pastor, do you have your, is there a church there? I was like, no. They're like, do you know what you're going to be doing? I was like, nope. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to meet as a board and talk about it. And they came back and said, you know, we want you to continue pastor, and we want to be able to support you guys as you're going through this transition. And not only did they support, but then the conference also supported, so that the church was able to help us as a family during that transition period for a month and a half while I was here. And I was able to pastor the church family remotely for that period of time. So that was just one blessing. Then there was, you know, God was again showing divine appointments, another blessing. When we got here, I was talking to my brother-in-law, and he was kind of sharing about his business that he had and his plans. And the day after I got here, there was a guy who reached out to him, and there was a business opportunity, and my brother-in-law was like, hey Greg, you want to join the call? Turns out this guy's a Christian man, and he has big visions in terms of impacting diversity, disadvantaged, marginalized people in a big way, making a social economic impact within communities. And he was starting a new organization. And I was just like, okay, God, you know, I mean, here it was. I worked in a diverse population when it comes to the law firm I was with. I worked in a diverse population in the IT company that I worked with in Virginia. And I came to a church that was also strong in diversity, mainly Koreans, right? So I was always influenced in this area. And now God is opening up a way for me to make a bigger impact on a national scale through this organization. And so that was yet another blessing. And there are many more, but I'm sure my wife will share a few as well.
Yes. Yeah, there were many blessings. One of them, and I mentioned before that we drove, and I could tell you that we did not get to really service our car. We did an oil change, we did the basics, whatever, but we did not have the money to actually do a proper servicing of our car. We had to do a tune-up. Yeah, we didn't do that. So it was amazing to me how both cars, one didn't ever go more than 4 hours. So we didn't know if that would take us all the way, and it did. And that very car, few days later after we moved there, we were dropping our daughter to school. My husband was picking her up. And the car started smoking.
It blew up, man. The car
and,
went on fire, smoke and everything.
Yeah, and we were just saying, you know what, that would have been, because that car still hasn't been fixed, you know, and it's been a couple weeks because we had to order the part and all of that stuff. But imagine if that had happened while we were driving, that would have been devastating. And then the other thing that we witnessed was just how, you know, we had some bad news while we were coming, and we were told that we couldn't get the loan anymore. And this was devastating for us because our stuff was already in transit. We were driving down to move into our home, and so when they told us that, we didn't know what to expect. And we thought we were gonna be homeless or having to stay with family for a while. But God worked that out through our family members. We had the option of just getting some support to balance out our debt to income ratio. And we had family members who stepped forward and was able to help us with that. And that was a huge blessing, and the kids saw that, they witnessed that as well. And the other blessing, and I'm just sharing the bigger ones that, you know, I think you guys will probably be inspired by. The other thing was that we actually moved into our home after we came here. Everything worked out. We closed on the home. And the trailer, we called the trailer over so we could unpack. We started unpacking, and then we got a call that we don't actually own the home. That the closing amount that we wired to the law firm did not actually go through. And so, because of the way we wired it.
Because I wired it. Yeah, she's being modest. She's trying to.
Because of the way Babe wired it. And so, we moved in, and they were like, yeah, we don't have the money yet, which means you technically don't own the home, so please return the keys and get your butt out. And so we had to pack up our stuff, pack up our kids, and move back to our brother's house. And thank God, you know, thank God we had some place to go.
Yeah, so what my wife is saying there is that we had until, we closed on a Thursday, and because of the issue, the lawyer was like, yeah, give back the keys. That was the Friday. And then she had to reach out to the mortgage company and say, hey, they didn't close, the money is not in. And so the mortgage company had to make a decision as to what to do, whether to hold the papers or start the process all over again. Which of course, you know, would probably discourage the seller from giving us the home. And so we called up, they agreed to give us until the Wednesday. So now the money had to be back in our account. And it's supposed to take, they say it takes 3 to 5 days to get back into our account. I was just like, that ain't gonna help us. And so I was already, you know, I had my doubts, I had my fears. I was just really stressed, y'all, because it's 3 to 5 business days, mind you, not, you know. And so they just so they saw the money, they put it back in or sent it back to us so that we could send it wired the right way on the Thursday night. And I was just like, God, please let the money be there. But I didn't want to check. But
I kept checking.
My wife kept checking.
I need to know. I don't want to be homeless, Lord. Don't embarrass us like this.
So my wife checked, right? And so on that Monday morning early, she's like, babe, what does it mean? What do you mean? And so I went and I looked, I was like, oh, it's in the account. So I went down to the bank and I checked with them. It was still in pending status, which for those who know, it really is not yet cleared. You still need to wait another 24 hours for it to post. And so we had to wait 24 hours for it to post, which happened on the Tuesday. And we were able to close, get our keys, and thankfully come and move the stuff out of the trailer in time so we wouldn't incur any other charges. So God is good.
And one of the last blessings.
You see the blessings? Do you see
And
that?
I just have to
there's so
mention
many.
these because they were just too unbelievable, you know. So one of the blessings that we got after we were done and we were going over our finances and seeing how much the move cost us. Let me tell you, before we left, someone gifted us some money, and when we went through our finances, the cost of the move was the journey, the whole thing. I'm talking about gas, I'm talking about food, I'm talking about accommodation, living accommodations during that time. That was the exact amount of what the person gifted us. Can you believe that?
I think it was a difference of like $5, but it was like, you could say exact amount, right? So, but
yeah, God is, yeah, right? Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to like. If you like what you see, share.
Subscribe. Share.
And also subscribe so that you can get notifications of our next